We have another installment in this Joe Budden and Math Hoffa beef. Math Hoffa and Joe Budden don't like each other. It's very clear. But they still pretend and play nice with each other, but then they will go out of their way to spite each other whenever the other person is in some controversy. And when one person get upset at the other for interviewing their ops or covering their downfall, the other excuse would be, well, you cover my downfall and interview my ops so I can do it. This is like the weirdest frenemy situation in the industry right now. But this time around, Math Hoffa confronted Joe Budden live on his podcast for essentially dancing and celebrating his downfall. During the episode, Joe Budden was discussing Math Hoffa announcing that he's having money issues and his podcast may be coming to an end due to his money issues. And Joe was in the best mood I've ever seen Joe in. He was sounding the bullhorn every 20 seconds. He was playing R&B music. He was laughing. Joe was having a good old time. You wouldn't think that Matt Hoffa and Joe Budden were quote-unquote frenemies. The way Joe Budden was celebrating, bruh, it's as if he was now comfortable announcing that Math Hoffa was a op. A lot of you guys may already be aware, but for those who aren't, let's just rewind a little bit and take a look at the Math Hoffa video where Math Hoffa announced that he's going broke. He's having financial issues. Now, Math Hoffa would say that Adam22 encouraged him or motivated him or inspired him to come out and speak openly and candidly about the financial issues he's currently having.
I spoke on this on the stream yesterday and, mentioned, Adam and, how after COVID, he probably thought, things were sweet. There was a lot of shit moving and all that, and how it kind of gassed a lot of people. I would say it gassed me also. I definitely got caught up in some financial issues and all that. But regardless, I tried to keep the shop and everything running, right? But I'm going to break down to y'all a situation that I've been dealing with. I've been dealing with this for a little while, and now it's gotten to the point where we don't know what's going to happen with the shop. Just keeping it 100.
He would also break down how a lack of knowledge got him in some huge financial issues. He started a media company without any knowledge or know-how on how to run a media company or any company that is. He went straight from the block, battle rap, to having a huge company that he really couldn't manage. Like, for example, he had people who he would pay, employees, people who was on the podcast with him, 1099 independent contractors, and he would just give them cash or pay them through Cash App with no type of real accountant. So those people weren't reporting that they were receiving income through Math Hoffa. So Math Hoffa would say that right there stuck him with a huge tax bill that he couldn't afford.
It was like a block clicking for me. And a lot of the deals and the situations that I got involved in weren't sound paperwork-wise. Paperwork-wise, it wasn't sound. It was more of like, I trust you, we're going to do this. I trust you, we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Not really forming contracts and all that. Like, even the guys that I fired or whatever, and they go around complaining like little and all that. At the end of the day, even the W-9s and all that, they stuck me with that. You know what I'm saying? All the bread that I was paying them, they stuck me with that. These motherfuckers that they ain't telling you that they got paid. You think they telling the government? You think what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that I had to learn in this process, just learning and learning and learning and learning.
All the bad decisions, all the mistakes essentially led to the podcast not being that profitable. They was barely getting by. It was like running like a week to week, like a 9 to 5, right? Like, you live paycheck to paycheck. And that's what exactly Math Hoffa was going through. So when you live paycheck to paycheck, you can't really afford unexpected expenses. And that's exactly what happened. So Math Hoffa was subleasing the space through somebody else because he couldn't either lease the space or, he just didn't have the good credit. He didn't he just couldn't lease the space out himself. So he went through a sublease. Now, the person who was subleasing it, they gave Math Hoffa an electricity bill. Now, the electricity bill was upwards of $7,000. Math Hoffa straight up said, I'm not paying this, bro. We film 2 or 3 times a week. Why is it this high? It doesn't make sense. I'm not paying it. That led to the person to cut off the electricity completely.
So this electric bill, which continued to grow and get sky high, Peep this, y'all. And I refused to pay it because it didn't make no sense. Something was wrong. But, you know, I'm stuck in between the war that's going on between these two people, right? So, the person I lease from decides I'm gonna cut the shit. But she don't tell me nothing. That's the ill part. She don't tell me nothing. Nothing. Come to find out, the day that she cut the power here, what y'all think happened? What y'all think happened? It also cut the power in different areas in the building.
Thanks.
So now the super is like, yo, what's up with the electricity? The power here. It also cut the power in 2 years, like 2 years, without a problem. It's just, you keep coming up with these extra numbers and I'm like, is she scamming me? Like, what's going on? Come to find out, the day that she cut the power here, it also cut the power in different areas in the building.
When they cut the electricity for the barbershop specifically that Math Hoffa filmed out of, it turned off the electricity for the entire building, which is how Math Hoffa then figured out, oh, my electricity bill was so high because somehow, like, the meter that was for my barbershop was apparently feeding the entire building electricity, and I was being charged for the entire building electricity. So, again, it's entirely unfair to Math Hoffa, right? You shouldn't be paying for the light bill for everybody else in the building, right? So, that was out of Math Hoffa's control, to be honest. However, bruh, all the other stuff and not really having an emergency fund, that's on him. So they shut down production, they shut down filming, and Math Hoffa essentially became like the laughing stock of like New York YouTube, bruh. Almost every content creator in YouTube was laughing at Math Hoffa. Now, Joe Budden, being somebody who was pro-creator, being somebody who has known Math Hoffa for years, one would expect for Joe Budden to be a little bit sympathetic, but Joe wasn't, bro. Joe came on his podcast and damn near threw a parade that Math Hoffa was going through tough times.
Something happened with the barbershop where I guess he said something about the light bill was $7,000.
In life, for me, I'm talking about me and indicators and things that I use as signs and ways to identify when I need to get the away from people in the world.
Oh no.
And one of those signs for me is when there's always a story. That's it, that was the punch. When you see me at the bar for 10 years and every time I see you, it's a story about something going on in your life that involves a lot of words, I leave you in judge. So Math is that for me. When he lost SO and them, I ain't say nothing. But he did, and it was a lot of words. I wasn't that invested. And then my man, the supreme Muslim,
You talking about
super Muslim. What's my man? You know my name, bigger. I didn't say nothing in either, but he did, and it was a lot of words. And then Champ left.
The advice within itself wasn't a bad one. Bro, you're 40 years old. Why is your life this chaotic? I don't speak to people with a chaotic life. Which, yo, me too. Me too, bro. Listen, bro. Yo, if I'm watching you online or let's say in person, and it's another issue after issue after issue after issue, one day you in jail, the next day you and your baby mama going back and forth, the next day you got this going on, the next day the kids, it's like, bro, I live a simple life. My life is very simple. So if you have that much going on, So that's what Joe expressed. He told the truth about Math Hoffa. Math Hoffa didn't like this. So Math Hoffa actually called into the Joe Budden podcast to confront Joe about this live.
Yo.
Mr. Budden.
Yo,
How you doing, sir?
I'm on air, so don't say nothing crazy. We got one of my former favorite podcast hosts on the phone, Math Hoffa.
Why you said former?
Because it's former.
This guy.
I've been watching Mecca everywhere. He said it's over. He said,
Mecca said it's over?
no, I'm lying on Mecca. I'm lying on Mecca, but the streets is saying that it's over. It's no more my expert opinion, and that was one of my favorite shows.
Well, I called you about the generator. You ain't pick up.
I didn't see you call. I just saw an Instagram post that I didn't like. Not
Why
didn't like
like
as in didn't like it, but didn't double tap, I'm saying.
Is there any type of lines that you don't cross in this media space?
I tell everyone that I'm close with. I tell Adam this. I tell Brick Baby this. Academics this. I tell all my friends this, man. Everybody who I genuinely like. Listen, if you are content, I gotta do the content. I gotta talk about it. But from my perspective, I'm going to try not to do something that I believe is damaging to you. I'm not gonna just kick your back in. I'm not gonna lie or slander you. I'm not going to defame you. But if my audience care about the subject and the subject is you, I'm going to talk about it. If I ever have to choose between my audience and a friendship, I'm choosing my audience 10 out of 10 times, right? Because I owe it to the people who made me me. I owe it to the people who allows me to retire my mama, who allows me to live a good life. I owe it to them. So if I have to choose between my audience and you, I'm choosing my audience 10 out of 10 times, 100%. So for me, is my limits to content would be if something isn't going to destroy you, if it's not detrimental to you, if it's not going to cost you, let's say, your freedom and you're my man's, I'm going to cover it, bruh. All right. Now, that rule completely changes though. If you're somebody who also has a platform and you don't exercise the same restraint for me and you're bringing on my enemies and, and you're talking about me every day on your podcast in a negative light, beating my back end, well, that rule then goes out the window and I'm going to reciprocate whatever I get from you. So in this case, Joe Budden feels 100% justified in talking about Math Hoffa before calling Math Hoffa because Math Hoffa has had on, I don't know, D1, Hurricane Chris. Bro, he had on mad people who, like, the entire objective of being on that show was to talk about Joe Budden.
Me or in general?
You.
Hell no.
Yes. Yes. Of course. I don't play certain types of ways with I love and with and appreciate and have reciprocity with. I don't play games with that. I don't do that. I'm against that. It's against everything I stand for. It's against my character. It's not in my wheelhouse. It's not in my moral compass. But then there's like you, who I love, but have gotten froggy in the past few years in terms of, just having over people that smelt oppy to me, asking them questions that I didn't love all the way. You remember all those times I text you and said, I see you?
It smelled oppy? Who are you talking about?
It don't matter. But remember all those times when you was doing your pod with niggas I hate, and I would hit you to say, hey, no harm, no foul. Do you remember that?
If the nigga been on your show before, you don't hate him. Stop it.
When you cut that flashlight on, you knew that the next time I got in front of a mic, I had to say something. No?
Well, it's all content, isn't it?
Not if you stop filming. It's content if you continue to film. But now you filming on the phone, like in parks. No, nigga. You can't let the lights getting cut out get you off your ding. You got to continue to do it. And then it's content. But if you're just going to sit home and be sad about it, then you out the content game.
I understand where Joe is coming from. If you're somebody who has ran content on me, who has brought people on specifically because they were beefing with me at the time, bro, you can't call my phone and start asking me, isn't this too much? Hey, bro, why you talking? Man, yo, if you content, I'ma eat. That's how, right? Now, there are some people where, we have a truce. You don't talk about me, I don't talk about you. We acknowledge we don't like each other. There are people who I'm friends with, but even with those people, bruh, if my audience want me to discuss you, man, we're going to discuss you, okay? Let me know in the comment section, man. You think Math Hoffa was right for being a little salty that Joe was talking about him, or do you guys feel like, yo, this is all fair in love and war? And Matt Hoffa signed up for content. He's done content on other people. You know, this is just his turn now. Let me know in the comment section, okay? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen, somewhere here on my screen, man, to find out how Lil Durk just received some really bad news. Click on this video right here to find out what that news is. I'm gonna see you guys in this video somewhere on my screen. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.